And then good afternoon. My name is Bianca Gonzalez, and I am the Bullying Prevention Program Coordinator with the Riverside Medical Clinic Charitable Foundation. I want to go ahead and actually welcome everyone to our second session within our virtual bullying prevention conference week. So before we begin today's session, I just want to share a little bit of information regarding how to use Zoom and a couple of new features that we are offering. So we are providing closed captioning services. So if you look towards the bottom of the screen, you're going to see a little CC icon, and then you're going to see an arrow pointing up. So if you click on that, it'll allow you to show subtitles. If you do not wish to see any subtitles, don't worry about it then. And if you want to turn them off, you just follow the same steps. So it's really simple to use. We're also recording our sessions this week with the exception of our Kaiser Permanente webinar on Friday, and they will be uploaded on our YouTube channel. So please stay tuned for that. So we also are having a kindness kit giveaway. So our grand prize is kindness kits for a classroom. And then we have a couple of other prizes, which consist of Amazon gift cards. So if you're not an educator and let's say you win our grand prize, you can actually donate a kit to your classroom of choice. And please keep in mind that this giveaway is available to Riverside County attendees only. We also have our chat box feature, and we have a Q&A feature, so you can leave any questions or comments there. I already see a couple of, we have Jeanette Rodriguez, my colleague, she's inputting some links in the chat box, and then we see a couple of comments coming in as well, so you guys are aware on how to use those. And after each of our sessions, you will have the opportunity to complete a short survey, and we look forward to receiving your valuable feedback. We're also very appreciative of our sponsors that are helping us facilitate this week. So I want to go ahead and personally thank the Riverside Medical Clinic, Kaiser Permanente, the Press Enterprise, City of Riverside, Riverside County Board of Supervisors, Hub International, IAHP, Alliant, Singer Luac, Union Bank, and LabCorp. We truly thank you and appreciate your support. So I want to go ahead and explain a little bit about our foundation and what we do in the community. And in this slide, you can see our impact that we had in 2019, but I want to currently share what we've been doing during this time. So about 36 years ago in 1984, 19 RMC physicians formed our foundation with the goal of improving health and the quality of life in inland Southern California through advocacy, individual professional education, and service. Our foundation holds monthly support groups for endometriosis, prostate cancer, Alzheimer's, and brain injury and stroke. And during this time, they are meeting online and they are receiving wellness check calls, and we have been mailing monthly newsletters to provide vital support information. Our scholarship program to date has awarded over $25,000 in 3 different areas related to health education and special need programs. And in 2012, we held a lecture on bullying that inspired us to launch the Anti-Bullying Institute, also known as ABI. This bullying prevention program offers services and resources to parents, administrators, and children in English and Spanish to assist in ending the cycle of bullying. ABI has impacted over 14,000 students and parents through student and parent-centered bullying prevention education, and we also currently serve over 20,000 HERO alumni through our ongoing programs. The Traveling Triplets programming is a doll therapy program which brings meaning and purpose for someone who is living with dementia. And this program is currently on hold, but we hope to return to a normal schedule soon as it is safe for our seniors. Lastly, we have reached thousands through our health education and events in honor of some of our founding doctors as well. So now I would like to go ahead and introduce our presenter for today, Dr. Kathleen Sarmiento. So a little bit about Kathleen is she is a licensed marriage and family therapist and currently works for Riverside Unified School District. Dr. Sarmiento's educational background includes a Bachelor's of Arts from University of California, Riverside, Master's of Science from University of Laverne, and doctorate in social work from the University of Southern California. She is passionate about working in the mental health field to ensure healthy development for all youth and brings a wealth of knowledge and experience of over 12 years. She has experience working with diverse populations such as at-risk adolescents, foster and group home youth, probationary youth, couples, families, Black, Indigenous, and people of color, and LGBTQIA youth. Dr. Sarmiento has contributed to creating suicide prevention protocols and instruction manuals for Riverside Unified School District and the County of Riverside. She has extensive training and certification in trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy, crisis intervention, and running evidence-based groups. She founded and currently directs the S.U.P.E.R peer counseling program, which means students utilizing peer educational resources, which was piloted at Ramona High School and has demonstrated a significant decrease in suicide attempts the past 3 academic school years. This program was created as a school-based program designed to empower youth to help and support their fellow classmates. It is a peer support program infused with mental health training, virtual reality meditation, and peer counseling curriculum, and it's aimed at decreasing suicide attempts and deaths, as well as decreasing the stigma around mental illness within the education system. It is an innovation created to disrupt social norms within the education system and create a culture of connectedness on school campuses. So I will now go ahead and give it away to Dr. Sarmiento.
Awesome, thank you so much. First, happy Kindness Week, and I am extremely grateful to be able to share this information with you all. I'll go ahead and fix my screen. All right, so first I wanted to say that I know that a lot of times we don't really know the journey that people have gone on to get to where they are. And so for me, I wanted to tell you about my journey to where I am today. And I know that sometimes we choose our path in life based on events that have really truly shaped us. And I can still, for me, I can still hear and see this young, beautiful African-American adolescent standing at the top of the highway. And it's right before she abruptly jumps. And for a split second, she had looked back as if she were looking for a superhero to save her. And I stood there and I was in shock and I was in disbelief, and I had just witnessed this beautiful young girl take her life. And for me, I still wonder what her thoughts were, what they might have been, if she didn't feel that she was enough, or if she couldn't deal with the pain that she was struggling with any longer. And so I don't really know if she realized that last minute, the ripple effect that she would have on everybody that was witnessing this happen, and even on myself. So for me, she particularly sparked a fire that ignited in me, and I really began to focus on ensuring healthy development for all youth. That's become my goal in life, and also making it a good place in the sense of supports and more preventative for my kids for when they grow up and get older, and really focusing on decreasing suicide attempts and deaths. So I know, fast forwarding a little bit to 2017-2018 school year, there was a surge in suicide assessments, and I really wanted to look at focusing on what is it I can do to really make an impact instead of really more so putting out fires. And I know the clinicians that I work with will say that a lot of times it feels like we're putting out fires and there's not enough time to do some of the preventative work. So I know that I needed to really focus on looking into what was it that was really going on with our youth today, and really taking a moment to evaluate some of the data and information that is out there and what is it that the numbers are telling us. So ensuring healthy development for all youth. This is something that I stated is something that is my ultimate goal. And looking at some of the data before I really delved into what I can do to help made a large impact. So looking at, there's more than 6 million young people receiving treatment, and that is for severe mental, emotional, or behavioral problems. Suicide has been the second leading cause of death, and that is for 15 to 24-year-olds. There's been a large increase in youth self-reporting, and that's anxiety, depression, suicidal, and homicidal ideation. And when you really sit and think about that, that's well before there was even this COVID-19 pandemic. And knowing if you work within the school systems or even have your own kids in school, there's a lot more, and there's been a significant increase in what they're really suffering with right now. And really looking at with regards to suicidal ideation, there is information with regards to bully victims, and that's between 2 and 9 times more likely to consider suicide. And that's more than non-victims, according to studies that were done in Yale University. So really honing in on some of the statistics for suicide, Black youth under the age of 13 are twice as likely to die by suicide. And that's when being compared to their other sexes. Black males age 5 to 11 are more likely to die by suicide compared to their white peers. And the suicide death rate among Black youth has been found to be more increasing, and it's increased a lot faster than any other ethnic or racial group. So 50% of transgender youth report at least one suicide attempt. And if you really think about that one, they're only going based off of numbers that are reported. And we know that that has to be much higher. And LGBTQI+ group are 8.4 more times likely when they're coming from unaccepting homes or no to low level supports in place. Suicide in youth has risen 56% in the last decade, and then impulsive suicides have risen by 50%. And so all this data is not even the most current. And during the pandemic and the racial trauma and just the trauma that we're all experiencing globally right now, this can have a large impact on what's really going on. And we're not really fully seeing what that impact's going to be right now. So here is an image. It's the data on the youth in Riverside. And I just really wanted to have you take a look at this image, and it's data that was presented by Riverside County Public Health. And the rates have definitely increased since the 2015 report. And this is solely based on data with what was reported or collected. And so even knowing right now, working as co-chair for the Riverside County Coalition to prevent suicide, it's numbers that we are looking to get more accurate number on. And the numbers during the COVID pandemic, there can be a greater amount of youth that are at risk right now, but that information isn't as easily accessed. And that partly is because, you know, we're also working from home in addition to having school from home and everything more virtual. So my question would be, what if we could really address this large increase of students suffering in silence and wanting to kill themselves because they feel like that's the better option? So next you got to kind of look at the problem. So we know that societal norms are what continue to hold the stigma regarding mental health and mental illness in place. And strong stigma, and it continues to keep people from speaking up or speaking out about mental illness. So the problem that we're currently having is that we're living in a digital age world, and our youth aren't developing the emotional intelligence that's needed in order to really navigate society. And thinking about current times, we're mostly all digital right now, and we're not getting those firsthand interactions and social cues that we're used to. And as well as that, emerging into adulthood has begun to bring about more stress and pressure. And even right now, with regards to the current stay-at-home orders, there's a lot more anxiety, a lot more stress. And I know that the licensed clinicians and the clinicians in training currently right now, they can definitely say that there's been a large increase in students reporting anxiety. And I kind of wanted to discuss that the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention states that 76% of young adults, our youth, are turning to a peer in times of crises for support. And if you really think about it, are we really giving them the tools and resources that they need in order to really have these conversations? And our youth really want to help. And I know that they're going to their friends and getting support from their friends when they sense that they're having a hard time. And however, they do feel unsure and awkward, of course, at times when they don't know how to speak to their peer or what to say or if their conversation will even be helpful. So the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention also stated that our youth who have experienced emotional and mental health challenges, they have stated that their friends being there and whatever supportive role or whatever caring way that they have been able to be in has made an impact, and that it didn't matter how they had that conversation with them or what exactly it is that they said, they report that it has helped. And so it's that support that they're engaging in with their friends and peers. And so one thing that I did as well is I did run a query and get some data collected on what I can really focus on with regards to the population that is experiencing these hard times. And I'll discuss that a little later. But something that really had a large impact was sending out a survey to students and finding out that they even report that the majority within even one high school, that they do go to their peers, and that number was over 60% that they're reporting that the only person, the first person that they go to was their peer for support. So another question, why aren't we giving them these tools that they need in order to have these conversations? And why aren't we teaching them more effective and more helpful conversations and tools that they might need in order to do that beautiful handoff to an adult? If it's in the case of a student that might be even experiencing suicidal ideation. So the solution, students utilizing peer educational resources. So the super peer counselors. And this was a peer program that is infused with mental health training and peer counseling curriculum. So it's aimed at decreasing suicide attempts and deaths, and as well as decreasing the stigma around mental illness within the education system. And it's currently in development as an innovation to disrupt those social norms within the education system and create a culture of connectedness on school campuses. So the Super Peer Counseling Program was created as an innovation that utilizes these tools and knowledge and skills that are needed around all these topics and these hard conversations that our students are already having anyway. And so it's allowed them to be more successful in helping each other. And this program has been able to offer students that their peers can relate to or see as a friend and play really critical roles in supporting others on campus who might be suffering in silence. So I kind of wanted to talk about the implementation of this program. So typically, when looking at program models already in place, I did notice that there is a majority of students that are concerned about mental health care and needs within the education system, and really honing in on focusing on students that are more mature in the sense of being able to hold these conversations. And what I was able to look at was a lot of these evidence-based models that showed that 16 and older was the more effective age in order to have a peer help another peer. And so what I have been able to do was then the students that were candidates for this program to be a super peer had to be in the 10th and 11th grade going into the 11th and 12th grade. And so those are the students that are applying for the program. And so these students that were implemented in the guidance office for the pilot program as office TAs. And not only does that allow them to be within the central area where they're frontline for crises, but they're able to really evaluate what the students' needs are when they're coming into the guidance office. Because where this was located, it really mattered in the sense of that's where school counselors, the licensed mental health clinician, which is myself, as well as the school counselors were actually located. And so it really made a large impact knowing where these students can be crucial and critical to offer these supports in place. And so in order for a student to request services, it's an online form that they would fill out and request. And that form is screened by myself. And then we kind of have them, I'll discuss the forms a little bit later, but they really screen what is kind of going on with the student and then meet with the student to initiate a meeting and to really just help them develop different skills that they might need in order to be successful on campus. Even with regards to speaking to a teacher or communication skills, they are really available to show students how to get the appropriate support and be that link that it might be missing. And so they were available for peer mediation services. And what that looks like is they either can help students that come in and they're having an issue with a peer, or it was also offered as an alternative to discipline. So instead of students getting more severe punishments, or if there being consequences for peer relational issues, that was something that has been offered as an alternative to, say, suspension, if students are able to work that out. And these students really work hand in hand together during the periods that they're offered as an office TA to really hold that place for students. They're also able to go to elementary schools and offer workshops. So principals have requested them to go to their sites and do different type of tools and teach students different skill sets. And so also classroom presentations, they have been able to offer classroom presentations on campus as well to their peers, and that really helps build rapport and work on some of those skills that these students need to develop in order to work in and be a part of our community. So some of the main phases and activities of operation and key units of service that I will be discussing is the peer counseling and mental health training, which is evidence-based training and number of students. Then the S.U.P.E.R meetings, which is the number of meetings with pre and post tests, as well as the virtual reality meditation, which is number of students utilizing the meditation and coping activities. So with regards to training, so I really wanted to take a minute to break down some of the training that these students are offered and get. So what I've been able to do is develop a curriculum that I'm able to train students over the summer. And what this looks like is it's 2 weeks, its average is 4 hours a day, and it's about 40 hours total of training. And this includes the mental illness signs and symptoms. They get mandated reporter certified, suicide prevention skills training, and even the peer mediation training, in addition to other topics like grief and loss or trauma and bullying prevention, in addition to autonomic nervous system and many other skill sets that they get trained solely in the summer. And what I want you to really think about is most schools have vocational programs, and they have programs for, say, healthcare, JROTC, in addition to explorers programs, wood shops, auto body, different options that they offer. But what is there for mental health or mental illness? So this program has really given students real world skills that they can use in any career or in any part of their life, really. And it's really honed in on their communication, public speaking, active listening, as well as giving them exposure to mental health field and really just the experience into being able to explore what it's like and really gaining those skill sets. So it's something that they can have to use to apply for different scholarships and college applications and jobs. And I know that these students in particular have used that, and it's been something that has really helped them in addition to applying and getting into college. And so first, as you can see here, I want to say thank you to the licensed mental health clinicians that I work with. They're called S.U.P.E.R counselors, so I'm S.U.P.E.R counselor. And I know a lot of them have really volunteered their time throughout this program to help develop and really volunteer their lunch break to come and teach these students some skills. And that's what the monthly skills training is as well, where they took time out of their day to make sure that these kids had support as well. So shout out to them. So some of the other things that we do offer is I do go over different case studies and examples and scenarios with students to help them kind of really hone in on their skill set and being placed in these situations. One other thing that I briefly wanted to talk about is the guided meditation. And a lot of times the meditation that they do receive, if students don't feel as comfortable receiving those meditation services when they're coming into the guidance office, for example, we've had students that come in and they're in an anxiety state, high anxiety, and they need to really work through coming down, and they're having a hard time really focusing on the meditation. We were and have been able to offer those guided meditation through the virtual reality meditation. And that's been really effective and extremely helpful. And we've gotten a lot of really good reports on that as well. So the S.U.P.E.R counseling program, my program's been basically developed into the sense where it can be easily implemented within different school systems or different high schools mostly, and it's been developed into a manual to really help with regards to training and implementing as easy as possible. So the innovation is a program model that can be adapted and implemented at other sites. And I know that each school site has its own culture, and so that was really I really took some time to look into that and see what different types of cultures, because each community of school has its own culture and different things kind of going on, so it can really be implemented easily. And so the technology that we use with regards to the virtual reality meditation is something that is really beneficial as well, and something that can be taught and is also included in the program manual, and the extensive and crucial program that includes training around mental illness and suicide prevention to our youth. So what I'm really looking at is implementing this manual throughout the online platform. So really the online content to be more developed so that sites can have this program and have it accessible to them with regards to the most recent and current content as it's being developed as well. So an example of this would be that during this summer, we did experience, a lot of racial trauma and a lot of trauma in general. And we have been going through the coronavirus pandemic. And so with that, I've been able to add and change some of the stuff that's input into the program manual as well. And so as it comes along, that's some things that can be updated. So next, I wanted to address some of the wide range things that we do cover. So we have been able to do the self-care fairs. As you can see, that's a picture of the virtual reality meditation. And we've been able to really partner, which I'll discuss a little later, with different agencies, especially ABI, in order to really help cause and disrupt some of the social norms on campus to really make sure that students are able to get that support. And the presentations and the posters and social media that these students have promoted have really begun to reduce the stigma around mental illness, and it's really encouraged a lot of students to seek out supports. And so a quick shout out that I wanted to give to Melissa Egan, pictured at the bottom in the center. I believe that it's critical to have a support staff in addition to the licensed clinician, as I'll discuss later, to really help get things started in addition to implementing the program. And it's really important to have and crucial to have that support on campus when you're running the program, to really look at the ins and outs of implementing a program. So the pilot school target population. So I kind of wanted to briefly discuss the demographics of the school site that the program was piloted in 2018. So it indicated that there was approximately 2,000 students on this campus, aged 13 to 18 years old. 82% received free reduced lunch, and 80% were Hispanic, 10% white, 4% African American, and 6% other. So my strategy at the site has been to really implement this program and expand it by the number of students that are needing and wanting support on campus. So the data has proven this strategy to be very effective, and the number of youth who have been assessed for suicide has reduced significantly over the past 3 school years. And so for the fall of 2017, as you can see, there was 94. In the fall of 2018, there was 51. In the fall of 2019, there was 23. And then looking at the number of assessments in fall so far for the school year, there's been 10, and that's within counting up to October. And so really looking at the impact that this program has really had and being able to provide those preventative pieces in place, there's been so many different pieces that I'm going to go over a little bit that have really had a large impact. And just looking at fall of 2017 to fall of 2018, that's a 54% reduction, and it's continued to go down. And we've really worked really hard. And so one of the research questions that I asked was, does the S.U.P.E.R counseling program decrease the number of students attempting suicide and increase campus connectedness? And this is something that we have really seen have a large impact. And I even know that the principal at the site in particular has even said that he's seen a change of the culture on campus and how it's okay to ask for help, and how a lot of students are now reaching out and asking for help and really looking at being more supportive. So with regards to data collection, the qualitative data was improved mental and physical health, increased adaptive coping skills, increased satisfaction with the program. And then with quantitative data, it was because it was about 2,000 students, I wanted to make sure we started with between 8 and 10 students to train as peer counselors to really see what the impact was and how we can have an impact on campus. And then 1 licensed mental health clinician, and number of super peers in session, as well as number of partnerships and number of suicide assessments. So with that, I really wanted to say that having the super peer counselors available relieved a lot of the workload for the administrative staff, school counselors, school psychologists, and the licensed clinician, which is myself. And even I could say that the teachers, because this is typically where they have emotional outbursts can occur is in their classrooms. And so this has really allowed a lot of us to focus on more of our primary roles within the school site. And so I've been really able to focus on the students that have a lot higher needs as well, and really hone in on my skill set with them and be that support for the students. And so the staff at the sites continue to refer students to the S.U.P.E.R counselors, and these S.U.P.E.R counselors meet with students after they fill out the form, and there's a screening process that's done that I'll be discussing next. And like I said, the ones with the higher level of care are able to receive those supports at school as well. And these students are able to evaluate the situation and really do that beautiful handoff, because they've been trained to be able to assess the situation and really go over the language of what you say and how you say it, and really what does that handoff look like, and how do you connect them to those resources in order to do that beautiful handoff. And so some of the assessment tools that I wanted to make sure I discussed. So students will request to meet with a S.U.P.E.R with the S.U.P.E.R questionnaire, and that is accessible to all Ramona students. The site is Ramona High School, and the form that they would fill out for the S.U.P.E.R questionnaire would be when students are requesting to start the meeting. So that's something that is out there. If you're interested in talking to a S.U.P.E.R, fill out this form. And so that form is filled out and I get notified right away. Everything is all virtual, and this is something that is included in the program manual. So a lot of these tools, like for example, the interview process, in addition to the applications and assessment questions, and all of these pieces are what's included in the program manual as well. So the pre-test is after the student requests to meet with the student, with the S.U.P.E.R. So they'll meet with the S.U.P.E.R and the S.U.P.E.R automatically screens them, goes over confidentiality as well, in the sense of, you know, what I have to report, and because they're trained and certified in mandatory reporting. And they also discuss that, you know, here's the pre-test, please fill this out and let us know what you specifically need to hone in on. And so the student does that, and we really can create a place where it can foster some of that really support. And then after they fill out the pre-test, then they meet, every time they meet after that, the student does fill out a post-test that solely goes to me. And then the S.U.P.E.R fills out a session feedback form, in the sense of, how they felt that meeting went with the student and what they feel they can improve on. And then really offering the students that weekly time to meet with me, and we can kind of discuss and navigate some of the skill sets that they can work on with their peer as well. So one thing that I do want to mention is that not all psychometric work has been done. However, this has allowed for benchmarks that can be compared to. So these scales need more psychometric work to really assess the reliability and validity of these scales in addition. So the big question, what is it we're doing during COVID, right? So what are we doing virtually now? So since COVID, we do know that there is times where our students need services and supports the most. So these students have been able to really help in the sense of providing as many supports as they can. And we know that students have been impacted in several ways. So we implemented alternative options in efforts to really reach our students. And I know it's been really overwhelming for not only teachers and staff, but families in our community. And I know we've been having a really hard time. So the S.U.P.E.R counselors, these are the current S.U.P.E.R counselors for the 2020-2021 school year at Ramona High School. And they have been able to really hold, and I'm very, very proud of these kids. They've been able to do webinars monthly, and these webinars are for staff, students, and families. And the topics that they've done already have been racial trauma and stress and anxiety. And these are webinars that they put together themselves. And they really, it's really empowering to see them to be able to do this. Because I know even as an adult, we have a hard time really even presenting. So it makes a big difference. And I know that tomorrow they are offering the human trafficking webinar as well. And some that are coming up are the toxic relationships webinar and empathy in December. So really looking forward to some of these, and I'll let you know how you can access these later on as well. So these students have also, since they're not able to go to the elementary school sites right now, and I know that's something that's really hard to do, is they've been able to offer visiting different classrooms, and that goes through the principal as well. And they've worked on social emotional learning videos that are tailored towards elementary students, and that has been sent out as a support system for students. And for Virtual Mental Health Week, I know we do it usually in May during Mental Health Awareness Month, but this last year we were virtual already. So what they've really been able to do is they develop these videos that they can offer to their peers. And it's on their Instagram at Ramona Kindness. And they created these videos. They had so much fun with it. I had a lot of fun watching them make these videos and post them online. And they've been able to, during that mental health week that we offer, typically in person, we would usually connect with a lot of the community resources and have them booth on campus and offer a lot of fun activities. It's been a lot of blast. And what we did this year was really offer daily webinars instead virtually, in addition to spotlighting agencies in the community with resources, and offer special guests, and really hone in that way, because we know that students are having a hard time and those supports are still needed. And that's something that has made an impact. So the other piece is these students worked on a virtual calm room as well with me to offer tools and meditation and yoga and apps and music. So there's options to create music as well as a stress reduction technique, and really look at exploring strategies to help when students are having a hard time. And so since we are at home, the virtual calm room and these virtual reality pieces really can help, because right now, since we are stuck at home, it's important to be able to offer those places where your mind can kind of escape as well. And let's see. So as I discussed before, the pilot location was Ramona High School in Riverside. And first, I really wanted to take a minute to thank Mr. Cisneros, because he always believed in me to allow me to pilot this program for the past 3 years. And it really worked towards collecting data on how it's made an impact. And right now I'm very fortunate to be able to have the opportunity to expand this program very soon. And so what I wanted to briefly discuss the timeline. So the timeline is in spring, we really looked to offer those online tools because everybody's at home right now. And so online webinars and groups. And then this summer, I was able to change the material and really offer online training for the supers because I still felt that this program really needs to be continued, and it's made such a large impact, and even virtually they're still making an impact and really changing things. And for fall, which is this fall, looking at implementing at other high schools, and hopefully in winter 2021 implementing countywide. And in addition to that, I'm really looking at developing online training modules for this program to be able to help train other sites and have other sites train their students as well. So starting next year, please don't forget that we do have a website, and that's where you can find all the details to register for our S.U.P.E.R training if you're interested in implementing this program at your site as well. So next, I really wanted to take some time to go over some potential challenges and some alternative strategies, because regardless, it has been some things that may be challenging that you might face. And what I can say is we haven't really, knock on wood, had many challenges. It's been so graceful, and these kids are so in tune with being able to really adapt to situations. But some potential challenges that can come up is if the school site or students aren't interested in the program, if students are unwilling to miss class to come and get that support. So with that, what we've been able to do is really focus on offering the students as an office TA, which is a teacher's assistant. In the guidance office, they have it as 0 period, lunchtime, and after school, in addition to during school time. So that way, if students are having a hard time and don't want to miss their class because their classes are really intense, then they can have these alternative options. And the other piece is limitations with buy-in from students or staff. That's something that can happen, but that is something that we've been working on, and what those classroom presentations and these mental health awareness weeks and things that we're doing on campus has done to really alter the view on mental illness as well. So suicide attempts, that's something that is still going to continue, and really thinking about and knowing that if even having these kids on campus as an offer to other students, it can make a large impact and difference. So stigma and societal norms, that is something that will continue to have an impact, and that we really have to look at making sure as a community we come together to try to work towards changing some of that. Making sure that we keep the fidelity of the model. So with regards to how it's implemented and how these students are trained, it's been really crucial to make sure that these students are trained in these really heavy topics as well, and that you really vet the students in the sense of what students are able to be super peer counselors, because that's really important, and keeping the fidelity and with confidentiality, also bringing their parent, the students that you select, making sure you have that relationship with the parent and know that the parent is able to really connect as well. So within the program manual as well, there's confidentiality and code of ethics that not only the student but the parent has to sign to be aware of, to hold accountable the student, in addition to making sure the parent is aware of what's going on with what their student is dealing with, and having that open communication. Alternative strategies, so support from staff. So one thing that we did with the Mental Health Awareness Week is really getting the school campus to be involved in that Mental Health Awareness Week. And that this time that we had it this last school year made such a large impact, and it was so beautifully done. Each department on campus was able to contribute in some way, and that again goes and fights the stigma and societal norms about mental illness. And so, for example, we have Mrs. Serrana, who is an amazing culinary person on campus at Ramona, and she even had her students that week make cookies to with stickers on them to offer for students to pass out for Mental Health Awareness Week. We were able to have the arts come, and they did different activities on campus during lunchtime in the quad and really show their support. It was beautifully done. and it made it so much more amazing and connected the campus so much more. And so really offering trainings to students and having those spaces where they can talk about some of the hard topics that they're having, and really going over that, making sure there's that confidentiality training and it's constantly a reminder, makes a large impact. So really developing that relationship with it for the students that you train. And this has allowed for staff to really see that their students are dealing with more complex issues outside of school, and same with parents as well. And it's really helped bring awareness to mental illness in youth. So briefly, I wanted to talk about how the program has shown a lot of community buy-in. And as a result, we've been able to successfully partner with many organizations that have become important stakeholders. So for example, the Anti-Bullying Institute and CBU offer the peer partnership with regards to offering mentors for each student and really helping the support. So being able to do the self-care fair, and really it was just, there's been so many positive things out of this that have been able to be developed, and just really great resources as well that we're able to offer students on campus. All right, so in summary, data shows that the S.U.P.E.R counseling program has been effective, and the program has had a great and very low cost. There are licensed clinicians at school sites already in Riverside Unified School District as well, and so it has really made having this program, transitioning it to and adapting it to other school sites is going to be very easy to do. And the campus connectedness and overall wellness has increased. These students have received so many awards. It's been really amazing to see, witness, and just hearing and being able to talk about the lives that they've saved have been significant. And they have, for example, one student has even received a hero award for helping a student. One of the super peers helped one of their peers who was being bullied and really addressed that, and didn't know that that student was looking to die by suicide that day. And it changed the whole journey for that student. And so really reflecting back on the tragedy that I had witnessed, it did leave a large impact and imprint on my life. And however, it has allowed me to really focus on creating these everyday heroes, and it's within our youth. And I'm very honored and very proud to be able to work with such untold superheroes. And in addition, you know, the clinicians that I work with, we're all fighting a battle that is silent. And so I'm continuing to fight this silent battle with the S.U.P.E.R counselors when it comes to mental illness. And so my ask is, will you fight this with us? And lastly, thank you. And I really hope that you enjoy hearing about this program. And as you can see, they do have a Ramona Kindness page for their Instagram. We do have a website, and the link to our virtual comm room is also on the website. And for whatever resources you might need or support, also please visit the website, because we do have a lot of resources and information on there as well. The website is also where you can access our upcoming webinars that the students are leading as well. And that's what I have.
Thank you so much. We went ahead and added those links in the chat box for anybody that's interested. And then we want to go ahead and just open it up for any questions or comments. I already see a couple of comments coming in. So we do have some, it like cuts off the name, but I think it was from Destiny Egan. And she went ahead and noted this program can make such a huge impact in so many schools for our youth. Hopefully word will get out to other schools and districts to support more students that are struggling. And then there was also somebody that agreed this is an amazing program and something that is a significant need for youth, especially considering the current climate in the world. Just some thank yous for you as well. It's an excellent program. There was one question, but I believe you covered it, and they just did ask if this would be able to be implemented in middle schools, but I know that you did note it comes to the trainings, but you can go ahead and answer that.
Yeah, so Maybe something that I do want to work on later would be something that would be able to be implemented in middle schools. But for right now, with regards to the program model that I have created for high school, it is for students that are 16 and older. And that's because of the training, the intensive training that they do get certified in as well. But I am looking to do that at a later time, definitely after this one kind of gets going. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you. So we'll wait a couple of minutes. And I just want to note that it's just been so wonderful working with you and your supers with the ABI program.
Thank you.
And our high school peer-to-peer program. The self-care fair was so fun to do. And it was just great seeing all of your students creating their own special booths when it comes to self-love, when it comes to inclusion, spreading kindness. So it was just really amazing to do last year.
Thank you.
And it was very fun too, so.
Yeah, definitely.
Jenny Cortez noted, fight on, Dr. Sarmiento, you and the supervisors are doing amazing work.
Thank you.
Awesome. So I'll wait a little bit if anybody has any questions. Okay, so Amanda Cortez wants to know, she wants to thank you for sharing this information. And could you share some details about the case studies? For example, is it similar to worksheet workbooks?
Okay, so what I was able to do, especially this summer training, is with regards to the case studies, is it's actual case studies that it is from workbooks and things that are altered and geared towards adolescents. And then, so we were able to, what I've been doing the past couple of summers in the training, especially virtually this year, is really break the students up into different groups. So there was 3 groups this summer. And then what I was able to do was we were able to go over the cases. They had some of the information on the cases ahead of time, but they were able to, I would break them out into rooms and they would go over those cases and really go over what signs and symptoms are they seeing, what different tools can they use, and then how would they, what skill sets would they use in order to help and support students. And based on that, they would be able to really look at seeing what it is that they're picking up, and what they've been able to pick up was, it was so much fun. And these kids have a lot of fun. And then even doing a Kahoot challenge that I created, it was kind of like competing. And then like the group that did win was sent, I sent them like little gift cards. And so just having fun with it, because I know it's something that in my master's program, that's something that we did, and learning some of the skill sets in that sense. So they really had a lot of fun with that. So just exploring some of the case studies that are available and really challenging them in that sense.
That's great, thank you. And then we do have another question, and they would like to know, how do you address a youth who is actively thinking of committing suicide?
Okay, so in that sense, I would say with the S.U.P.E.Rs, what they do, and I can give so many examples of how they've been able to address that. But because they're trained and they are certified in suicide prevention skills, what they're able to do is, say a student is meeting with a peer counselor, they've been able to, for example, I'll give Destiny as an example. I always love giving Destiny as an example. So an example of that would be when Destiny received a student that was having a really hard time. She brought her in, even some of the things that we go over is the body language and what that looks like, even if it's not matching affect, what they're saying. And Destiny was able to assess what was going on. The student did share some abuse, and with the abuse and everything that the student reported to her, it was beautifully done. She was able to discuss how important it is to report that information. And in addition to reporting that information, she was able to get more from the student. The student did discuss instances where she did attempt and talk about how she does have current suicidal ideation. Excuse me for 1 second. So she was able to really kind of assess kind of what's going on and really talk about some of those safety plan things that we did discuss and put in place. And from that, she was able to then do that handoff to me, bring the student to my office. She was able to do this beautiful handoff with the student, how it's important to talk about those things with an adult. And so that student felt comfortable because Destiny was there, to where she was able to disclose those things. talk about the safety plan that they came up with, and then I was able to go from there and then segue into my suicide assessment of the student.
Thank you.
And so that's one thing I'll add is that the students do know that if I'm not available and there is another crisis going on, they're trained to know that the school counselors, the school psychs, and the administrative staff are also trained, and they're able to go to them.
Thank you so much. So I want to go ahead and just share my screen one last time. Let me go ahead and bring that up. And I just want to go ahead and share all of our social media handles. If everybody can just go ahead and follow our pages. It is World Kindness Week, as Kathleen stated earlier. So we definitely would love to see any acts of kindness that you all want to share online. Make sure to tag us. We want to spread it. We definitely just want to spread a little bit of kindness and positivity during this time. It is so needed. And I just want to share a little bit more information of the rest of our presentations. We do have a final one this evening at 5 p.m. and we have lots more the rest of the week. I ultimately just want to thank Kathleen for taking the time today to share this important information. I hope a lot of you got, such useful information out of this. And I want to thank everybody for being here and just being a community against bullying through our theme that we are promoting today. So through kindness, empathy, and inclusion. So thank you everybody for attending today. We will definitely be sharing this presentation, so no worries. And our recording will be up on YouTube within 24 to 48 hours. So thank you again, Kathleen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you everyone. Have a great rest of your day.